They really liked
got
this
a
last
big
week.
outpouring of love that I completely didn't. Well, we'll talk about it in the show.
Yeah, I didn't expect it either. It was nuts.
202 when the show got good.
Yeah, it took us that long. All right. Sometimes things take a while to burn. Now's the time for us to do this. So here goes in 3, 2, 1. Hello, listeners and those watching live. Welcome to an episode of Core. This is Core, C-O-R-E, for, what is it? December 11th, 2019. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. We're here to talk about games and apparently other stuff, because let's just get this out of the way. For some reason, on episode 202 of our show, we got more feedback, more outpourings of love and respect. I don't know about respect. Let me back that word up. We got a lot of comments in the positive. People saying, this is the funniest show I listened to. I can't believe how funny the show is. This was the best show you've ever done. Blah, 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 blah. And I don't think any of us expected any of that.
Even more than in Heroes of the Storm times, too.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the most positivity I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Last week's show.
It was crazy, right? Like, totally unexpected. Didn't know it was coming. We were happy to receive it.
Like, a lot of it. Not just a couple and like, oh, that's more than usual. It was like, at one point, I'm like, will it stop?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had the same question. It was weird. 202, we peaked. Maybe we peaked. This is all downhill from here. Oh, no.
Yeah, I was going to say, so thank you for your comments, your feedback, and prepare to be disappointed.
Yeah, what if...
No, I don't think so. I think maybe there was something to last week's episode that people really enjoyed.
What do you think it was? What was the magic?
And when I tweeted out, well, I think we had a lot of personal stories in there that were very resonant with our listenership.
So we should do more of that, you're saying, is what you're getting at.
I'm just saying, we don't have to... I just think if something weird happens, then we just lean into it.
Okay.
Instead of saying, oh, we got to talk about video games. No more talking about jizz, the style of music in Star Wars. And,
I'm going to... Okay, I should tell the people at home. I'm going to put... Okay, if you're not a patron, you don't know about these bonus episodes we do, which is just stuff at the top of the show and sometimes the bottom combined. I do this on another show as well, so some of those people are used to it. But if you're a patron, you get this extra content. It's like a little extra 15-minute or so thing. Today, we had one of those, and it was interesting where it went. I think I'm going to tack it on to today's episode so that people can go, oh, I get extra stuff. What's that like? But is that a bad one to do this week? Is that a bad idea?
Yes.
No, it's not. No, judging by people's positive response to your story about some guy who tried to fart in a guy's mouth and ended up letting out a little poo, I think the listenership liked that. So
well, yeah, but I don't want them to be grossed out. Here's what I want. What was I gonna say? I want people. Okay, I'll put it this way. I want people to always be as honest as you can be. But what the weirdest thing is this whole last week has been just the weirdest out of nowhere praise for the show. And we just didn't, we don't get this normally. And it's fine. We're doing the show. We like doing it. We have our fans. We have our listeners. Like, we're doing fine. We always have been. But it's just, I don't know. That was like a weird outburst. And I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. But I may tack that on the end.
I'm not suggesting we just change because they like that and screw video games. It's all
poop stories from my youth. Yeah, exactly. I get you.
We have a limited amount of those, so really that show's only going to last so many weeks, and then what do we do?
Right, there you have it.
I mean, you've only seen so many incidents, right, Scott?
I've only seen so many. I don't have like an endless list of horrible experiences. Well, I have quite a few bad experiences when I was a kid, but I think I dropped the three of the biggest. I think I told you the Gary, bottom Gary and top Gary. I told
me towel snap.
Yeah, towel snap is. I have a bad towel snapper.
You've told it on the show.
Have I?
Snap.
Have I?
Yeah.
Wait, crack skin.
Yeah, did I tell you? Did I talk about that?
Oh yeah, I think it was in Heroes of Storm days. So somewhere
okay.
In the archives,
all right, so yeah, we don't have to talk about that anymore. I talked about the time that I had a whole conversation with myself in a mirror when I was 9. Have I done that? And I didn't know it was me. No, okay, no. That'll come later.
But here's the thing about the stories: if we just decide to do them, it's inorganic and not great.
Yeah,
it's got to come. It's gotta be teased out organically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did I tell you about the time the nurse had me do a pee sample for her and what she said after I handed it to her? Did I ever tell you that?
What did she say?
Okay, so this is very quick. I got a pee sample as 16 or something. I don't remember how old I was.
Wait, okay. First of all, though, is it common for a school nurse to need to take a piece?
It wasn't a school nurse. It was like a nurse.
Oh,
Nurse.
okay.
Yeah, it was like
At
a
your school.
hospital somewhere. We weren't
Okay.
at school, and
Where'd I get the school from?
I don't know. I don't know
There's
where
no
you got that.
establishing
Okay.
shot to the story.
Yeah, I
Okay,
never
all
said
right.
school.
Lost.
I think you heard me say 16, and you went, "Oh, high school." Okay, here we go.
Yeah, probably.
So, anyways, I take this. She has me go do my business, and I bring it back in a warm little see-through cup, like you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I handed it to her, and her answer to me, her response was, here's what she said. She looks at it, holds it up to her eye, and goes, "Whoa," and then just walks away with it. And I still, to this day, do not understand what "whoa" was about. I don't know what she was talking
Does
about.
it still bug you? Do
Yeah,
you
it
think
does.
about it?
It does.
Because, is it the amount of pee?
Right?
Or
Was
is
it
it the color of the pee?
was it quantity? Were there floaties? Was it like
The heat of the cup.
the heat
were
of the
you-
cup?
you know,
Exactly. That's what I thought of too. Was it warm? Was it so warm it was like hot to the touch? Like, what did she?
And whoa is a pretty specific reaction. It's not like, oh, that's a lot, or I don't know, or just it's like, whoa was like when Keanu Reeves learns that
Kung Fu.
he's not breathing air, right? Like he's like, whoa,
Yeah.
Oh.
No, you're right. You're
the
totally right.
mind-blowing pee that you had.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I never found out. Still to.
Well,
the-
have you
to-
asked? Have you tried to get anyone else's impression?
Yeah, I did a pee sample not long ago for an insurance thing, and I handed her the cup, and part of me was waiting for a whoa, because I still think about it, and she didn't. She just went, "All right."
Oh,
that
has
was
this given you like performance anxiety
No,
about
no.
your pee? When you're like, damn it, I can't get the whoa reaction
good."
anymore.
I can pee no problem. I just no one's ever said whoa like her, and then she and no one there ever said why she said whoa.
You
Like-
gotta be careful around kids, man, because the most innocuous thing you think you're doing
Yeah.
is going to be a life-changing event for that person
Yeah.
till they die.
Yeah. Like that time I told my sister, I think I put her into the field of psychology because she's now she's a professional psychologist, and I really wonder if it's not because I tried to fake that I was going to touch her forehead with a hot soldering iron, but we had two of them. One was plugged in. She can confirm this story. One was plugged in and I was melting metal with it, and the other one was cold, but they were identical, and she didn't know we had two of them. So I told her I was going to chase her down, and she's like 10, and I was like like 15, and I said, I'm going to pin you down, and I'm going to put my initials on your forehead with this soldering iron. And
Oh
so
my
I got up
God.
and I chased her with the cold one,
Uh-huh.
got her down, and then touched it and acted like I was drawing it. And she says she remembers feeling horrible pain from it, even though there wasn't any. It was just so, it was an
psychology.
awful brother thing. It was. I should have not have done this. It was
It's
horrible.
like the Punisher when he tortures people with a popsicle.
A little bit, yeah. Nice cut, deep cut there. So in my case, I to this day think that she may have gone into the field of mental health because I did that to her. I'm not entirely sure.
Hey, so she still does a segment on TMS, right?
Yeah, every Thursday.
Thursdays.
Yep.
You guys talked about magic mushrooms yet?
No, wait, like the kind that that grow on horse.
There's a real resurgence in academia for the use of acid in therapy to help people with PTSD and stuff like that.
Really?
It's just
Interesting.
probably in the know about that stuff. That would make an interesting topic.
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot about it except the engineer on Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
He's named after one of the leading sort of academic minds behind using magic mushrooms
Oh, the character.
to have
is?
a transformative experience in order to improve your health.
Well,
Like,
that
there's
makes
a real,
sense. That makes sense because in
Yeah.
that show, aren't they traveling on a giant space mushroom or something?
It's a spore drive. It's a
Spore
tardigrade,
drive.
but there's spores and mushrooms. And anyways, it take up a whole show talking about it, but it's like everywhere in my life now, a lot of sources and content is all about like the resurgence of research because the drug war, the war on drugs, like kiboshed any legitimate research for use of psychedelics as part of helping people psychologically recuperate,
Yeah.
like to break addictions and to help people with some severe psychological issues.
Mm-hmm.
That is like a dark ages for that kind of study. But now with the marijuana becoming legal and those restraints getting pulled back, that's becoming a bigger field of study still not okay. It's a moral gray area, but a lot of
Mhm.
academics are interested in it. There's a lot of renewed interest around it.
I'd try it if they said
She's
to
in
me.
that.
If they asked me, I'd try it. I totally do.
You're
Yeah,
just in.
yeah.
You're ready to
No,
go.
It's not like a do drugs and have fun kind of thing. It's like just take like a big dose and have a vision quest and changes your life.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like if they said to me, okay, part of your therapy regimen, and it was legal to do this, it's not now, but if it was,
Yeah.
say-
we're not espousing anything illegal.
yeah, I'd sit down and do it and see. Sure, why not? I mean, worse things can happen
Anyways,
to you.
Anyway, she might be in the know about that because she's in that, so she probably has an opinion and
Oh yeah, I'll
might
ask
make
her
an
about it.
interesting topic that I'd love to hear about.
Yeah, I'll Amy mention it tomorrow. She's on tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. All right. Speaking of things that you don't want in your head, Resident Evil 3 is coming. I'm not super stoked about this because it's basically just it's like Mr. X was a test for what's the guy called again?
Nemesis.
Nemesis. It's like Mr. X was a Nemesis test to make sure it worked okay, because if we all remember back in 2, he was never there. That didn't exist in there, right? Or do I have that
No,
wrong?
he did. Yeah, Mr. X was in 2, but he was only in the B scenario.
Oh, right, in the B scenario, which nobody plays the B scenario. Okay, maybe you do 4 or 5 times, but I don't. But anyway, so they decided to have Mr. X just all over the thing, and I think it was just a big test to see how Nemesis would go. And so now we're getting 3, and Nemesis is all over that damn thing. But this is being redone in the same vein as 2, right? Like a full, beautiful workover, redo.
Yeah, they're in fact it's coming out really soon. I think they said April, right?
Yeah,
For
April.
it.
Yep.
And I think part of the reason that they're able to do that is Resident Evil 3 was originally just going to be kind of a expansion, even though we weren't really doing expansions in those days, but it was just kind of considered to be not really a full numbered, but a continuation of 2. In fact, a lot of Resident Evil 3 in the very beginning actually takes place in the police station from Resident Evil 2. So they're going to get to reuse some of the stuff they've already designed for Resident Evil 2. It's going to be over the shoulder again. Like you said, they've already got the kind of programming for how a creature would chase you, so that's already done. And I think that's why they're probably able to get a quicker turnaround time on this. Plus, it's actually not that very long of a Resident Evil game. So
How big of
that
a
all
mechanic?
said-
How big of a mechanic was Nemesis? I don't remember. Was it a huge
Big.
thing?
yeah, so Nemesis in 3 was more like what Mr. X was in the 2 remake. He's a little more ever present. He's a little more sticky to you. You have to work a little harder to avoid him once he's decided to start chasing you.
Mhm.
The thing that was actually kind of extra freaky, and they won't do this in the remake, but because back in the day when they did Resident Evil 3, they still used those fixed camera angles.
Mhm.
Well, they didn't have any animation for Nemesis coming through a door.
Hmm.
Because they always did those cut scenes, where you go through the door and you see it open and then you're in a pre-rendered background. So
Yeah.
doors opening in Resident Evil doesn't actually happen in those old games.
Right.
So Nemesis couldn't come in and chase you until the camera was no longer showing the door. So you'd come through the door, camera would be right there showing you the door, you'd be safe. You could sit there for as long as you wanted. He wouldn't chase you. As soon as that camera angle changed, you'd hear a door and he'd be chasing you.
Great.
And there's something about that made it just a little bit scarier, knowing, all right, if I take 3 more steps, he's here.
Yeah. Well,
I better get ready now.
he's gonna full on break through walls though and stuff in this thing, right? Like this,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's 2019, 2020, in fact, when they released this thing. So that's what you're gonna get. Here's your protagonist.
Jill!
Well, that's Barry saying her name, but Jill Valentine back. No Barry.
Barry.
There's Jill. I don't think they use the same actress.
Barry.
She's
Barry.
The breath at the end is the best part. Can you just
Barry.
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 I'm so sick of this. Barry.
Barry.
Jill!
Barry.
Jill.
Here's another great line.
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
Yeah, that makes me hungry.
Jill sandwich.
He's the best. Barry's the best. Does Barry make an appearance in 3? Or are we done with Barry? I don't remember.
I do not think Barry is in 3.
Okay.
No Barry.
Do we get Barry ever again outside of remakes?
Yeah, he pops up here and there, but
Okay.
not super significant in any of the main games.
All right. And Wesker is always around because he never dies, right? He's
Wesker pops up again. He's in 1. He's in 5.
Yeah.
He's in Code Veronica.
Oh yeah. I played that.
He shows up. Wesker shows up in places.
I
where
wouldn't
he's not
mind a Code
involved.
Veronica remake in this vein, by the way.
You know what? I actually would really like that too.
Yeah.
That one's going to take a little longer because that's actually in the history of the story.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 3 coming out is what allowed them to spend more time on Code Veronica, which is
Mhm.
why that game's a bit bigger.
Sure.
But I think that game deserves a rework and this kind of attention to it because it had really cool ideas. It had a couple of big, weird flaws, but it would be
Yeah.
an awesome game.
And that was Jill again, right? No.
No, that was Claire. Chris
Claire-
is back in it at one point.
Claire Redfield, right? That's right.
And a Canadian kid who
Oh, good.
is the worst character in the history of Resident Evil. You know he's Canadian because he's always going, sorry. Didn't mean to do that to you, Claire. I'm just so sorry about it.
Wait, what's his name? I gotta find him.
Can't remember his name. What was his name?
Let's see.
Chat room, if you remember that dude's name, he was the like weird companion kid. He looked a little like Leonardo DiCaprio because it was around Titanic days, and he was the worst. He was the whiniest sounding character.
They have a list here of every playable Resident Evil character ranked. No, that's playable.
I don't think he was playable.
Yeah. Okay, here's one of
Steve. His name was Steve.
Okay, so Resident Evil Steve.
Oh, good.
Okay, Steve Burnside. That's the guy?
I think
All right, I'm going to play what I think is some audio of Steve Burnside. Here he is in Code Veronica, or he's about to be. Dude, this looks like crap. They do need to remake this. It looks bad. I know we all loved our Dreamcast, but this is no good.
we need him to talk.
Oh, there he is.
Don't shoot.
Who are you?
You're not a zombie. Well, great. Wait right there. I'm coming over.
I already hate him. I don't even remember him. I hate him already. All right. Well, Steve, we'll check in with Steve later when I get some better audio clips. But
Yeah.
no offense,
I'm sure
Bo.
there's a best of Steve Burnside somewhere in there.
Yeah.
There is a scene where he has to kill a zombie version of his dad. Spoilers. And as he just unloads a series of guns on him, going, ah, as he's shooting him nonstop. It's pretty good.
All right. Code Veronica up next on the redo chart. But anyway, this thing's coming. It's going to have multiplayer in it, which sounds like a little bit like a Dead Till Daylight kind of deal. Or Dead Till, what's the name of the game?
Dead by Daylight.
Dead by
by
Daylight. Dead Till Daylight. I'll wake up tomorrow. Yeah, no, it's like that. And you got one guy who's like the nemesis, basically, and then the 3 other players are just people. So,
Oh, it's
Yeah,
like Evolve.
yeah.
It looks like a pretty cool game because it's not just that you control the nemesis. You play the mastermind. And we talked about this a little bit a while back. You actually are in charge of placing the zombies where you want them.
Oh,
You're in charge of placing little traps around the facility. So maybe there's a little bear trap right around a corner that someone gets stuck in, and then you put a licker right there so they pounce on them the second they get around the corner. So you can take direct control of Mr. X in it and terrorize people, but you also have the ability to kind of set up traps and kind of look over and oversee the whole thing and, mess with them, turn the lights out on them so it's dark. And
that sounds
lock
great.
doors.
That sounds really cool, actually. I'd have some interest in that part of it. The story, maybe. I don't know, dude. Whatever. I played 2 and was terrified the whole time. Probably would
I
happen
mean,
in
if
3.
you're looking forward to playing 3,
Uh-huh.
you still have the second half of 2 to play. So
It's true. You are only halfway through 2, right?
No one can make me play that other part. I know people want me to, but I just can't freaking do it. I don't know. Maybe I can. This is another interesting note, though. Oh, I do have a Wesker line. Hold on.
Wesker.
Jill, so you're safe.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay. Gosh dang
oh
it.
Wow.
god,
Resident Evil 1, dude, has the best, worst dialogue in the history of video games. It's so
I just
good.
want to know the voice direction they gave Jill. Can you be as snarky as possible about every one of your lines? Just be completely done with every line you give.
Barry.
At the end. Oh, it's so bad. Anyway,
Very.
the former CEO of Platinum Games is working on this, so that's cool. We like Platinum, right? They do the big hairy lady with the glasses. What's her name?
Yeah, Bayonetta.
Bayonetta, yeah. She's the hairy lady. She's the lady where her hair flies out and she's like half nude when she does her cool
Her
moves.
clothes are made out of her hair. I think that's the deal there. So she's actually naked the whole time. It's just her hair looks like clothes because magic.
It's gross. I don't like it. Nobody should
It's
have
a fun
If
game.
your hair could turn into clothes, you wouldn't wear hair clothes.
Oh no, that's a question.
I mean, I'm almost there.
I was gonna say, Bo's gonna live this reality soon. For me, are you ever gonna? I mean, you're probably never gonna cut it, are you? Just gonna let it go forever.
I don't know. I just don't have any plans. That's the thing.
What would make you change? Okay, let me ask you this. Let's say somebody who looked like, I don't know. You know what? Let's just use her. Daisy Ridley from the Star Wars films shows up at your door one day and goes, "Hello, love.
Hello, Daisy.
I want to be with you forever, Bo, but you have to cut your hair. Would you do it?"
Then I say, The Last Jedi was a shit movie. Get out of here.
Do we still? Is that still your stance on Last Jedi? Still not?
Yeah, it's bad.
I don't think it's that bad.
I think it's one of the here. I gotta go the other way from Bo. Here's my opposite statement. I think it's one of the best Star Wars things to come out in recent history.
It's not that bad.
It's great.
I mean, The Mandalorian's better than all of it, but I
mean, I like The Mandalorian a lot.
yeah, Mandalorian's great.
But anyways, I didn't want to open up that mudhorn egg, if you will.
The hairy mudhorn egg, yeah, nobody wants to.
I didn't mean to open that up so much as just Daisy Ridley. You know, if she wants me to cut my hair, then
Yeah, well, would you do it?
I'll go.
I mean, you'd have to be. Well, let's say you were really okay. She's a
I
bad
mean, you
example.
pick Daisy Ridley.
Okay,
and
we'll say anybody that you're really. So you find the love of your life, man. Like you're like, oh man, we were meant for each other. And she says, I
still
agree,
no.
Bo. Cut your hair, she says.
No, because even if we were meant for each other, that's just wrong.
That's a sign that they weren't meant for each other. Is what it's saying right there.
It's a slope, right? Because if I don't want to do it and I'm doing it because of emotional whatever blackmail, I suppose, then it's like that's a road I won't go down anymore.
What if she said to you?
Been there, done that.
What if she says, if you never shave that beard or that hair or cut that hair, I'm never shaving my pits again. What then?
Oh, that's cool. I don't mind it.
You don't mind her all? Okay, but what if
I'm all right.
what if her pit?
I also,
Yeah.
it's also a weird assumption. Here's where you would need to take that. What if you were totally fine? There was no ultimatum, but just casually one day, she revealed in casual conversation, I'd prefer you with your haircut.
Yeah, what would you say?
I'd prefer if you didn't talk as much.
Oh, they're broke up already. They're already broken up. It's bad.
Yep,
All
it
right.
was over. It was over.
Okay.
Casual
Yeah, no,
comment,
it's
and
not-
that's the end of the relationship.
It's not
Yeah.
happening. Like honest, like it'll happen when I want it to happen.
Okay, what if, final question, what if that pit thing, in her case, she had some weird condition that meant it grew as long as your hair did? So she had just big, shaggy, braidable freaking pit monster
I mean,
hair.
if I love the woman, what am I gonna do? I love her.
Okay. But you
Yeah.
wouldn't see that as a fair trade. She says, hey, cut your hair short like you did back in your coffee shop days, and I'll shave these giant, enormous monkey pits that I have.
What if it was out the butt like a ponytail?
This is getting. These are exciting questions that you're putting forth to me.
The worst thing is you've already
No,
answered it.
if you love someone, these are no brainers. This is easy.
Okay.
Even in the case of Daisy Ridley, I wouldn't really say the TLJ thing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm not cutting my hair, but would you still like to do something?
Yeah.
I've got some magic mushrooms. You want to go on a magic voyage with me?
That's
we
really
can
funny.
agree to disagree and still be lovers.
Sure.
Okay, this is getting gross.
No, it's
Anyways.
fine. If
Yeah.
she's got a tail.
Daisy's like a kid. I'm 40. Like I don't know.
No, she's
I
not a
don't feel
kid.
good
She's
about
like 20. She's 20 something.
Yeah, she's a kid comparatively.
Well,
Like,
comparatively,
can you
yeah.
imagine dating somebody 20 right now? Like, I would feel so bad. I'm like, I'm gonna
I couldn't
die
do
way
it.
before you, and you're gonna be alone for the last years of your life and enjoy that.
I have a 22-year-old daughter. The idea of dating a 22-year-old is horrifying to me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting to that point too, and I don't have children, but I still kind of look at it and I'm like, it feels, you know, it's confusing time.
Well, that's what
'Cause you're
38-year
old enough to
old
be someone's father, and yet
38-year-old Harrison Ford was getting it on with 19-year-old Carrie Fisher on the set of Star Wars. You know.
you still experience attraction and love regardless.
Well,
So
I'm just
that's where it
saying,
gets weird.
it's a big chunk of time, you know, between those two. I don't know. He's weird.
This would be the point when the nemesis would jump through the wall and kill one of us. By the way,
Yeah, this would
Very-
happen now.
very- we're very calm and discussing this stuff.
Yep, and he'd go
Jill!
and be all worried about us.
Oh man, I wish that's what he said. Maybe you can do that.
Maybe.
They did a lot of mods for Resident Evil 2.
Mhm.
He always says stars. That's what he says. So maybe you can replace it with Jill.
This is actually a really good question about the history of that series. Do you think that there's ever a chance? Because they've already kind of redone it, you know, basically beefed it up graphically a little bit. But do you think they ever go back to Resident Evil 1 and do this treatment? Because now it feels like this is the new model for them to do this with their old games and still make crap tons of money on old content.
I don't think they do it with 1 because the remake of 1 is still really good. Like if
Yeah.
you go download that PC version of 1 remake,
Yeah.
it's solid. It still looks good. It still plays good. They updated the way it plays for PC.
Mm-hmm.
So you can either opt to do tank controls or not. And I think that game still holds up in a way that would prevent them from saying we feel the need to remake it.
Mm.
I wouldn't be surprised if they stopped at Code Veronica though.
Yeah.
Although I'll tell you, Resident Evil 4 is, I think, still my favorite Resident Evil, but it is showing its age finally.
Yeah.
In a big way.
That one could do that. That and 5 or whatever. I could see a future. I don't think it's very soon, but I could see a future down the road where it makes sense, and we've advanced far enough that you could take 4 and 5 into a new zone of awesome. You know, may redo those in a cool way.
I don't know though. 5 is a dumb game. I don't like 5. It ends with Chris punching a boulder. That's just
Yeah,
I
that is
don't know
not. That's
what's
not the
going
best
on
game.
there.
It's 6. I really hate though. 6 is bad. Bad
Yeah.
video game. 5 I was kind of okay with for most of it, but 6 really bummed me out. I didn't like it.
5's a good co-op game.
Right.
They nailed that, but then you're punching a rock at the end and you're like, what are you doing, Chris?
So this is what's funny is I played all these Resident Evil games before these remakes and 7 in particular. It's when Capcom and people decided, oh, we're going to make these truly horrifying. Like you thought they were scary before, and even 2, you know, how scary can it really be? It's just like isometric, weird camera views every time you walk into a room. It's normally not that scary. It doesn't really get you in the way that, you know, we can get you. And now they're really like going hard into that. 7 is still one of the most unsettling experiences I've ever had. Just really got under my skin.
7 hits on a lot of fronts. You got the first person, you've got the gross factor. If you don't like bugs, there's plenty of that stuff.
Yep.
It's gory, there's jump scares, there's tension.
There's really
Yeah.
whacked out people in a dirty old house in the freaking South in the swamp. Like it's all this, all the kind of tropes are there for like horror stuff, and they get me real bad.
But
So
you know what I like about 7 so much is near the end they have that reveal, and it's so sad
Mhm.
when you get to see the family before they kind of succumb to this.
yeah,
And you get to see what good, like, nice, caring people they were.
yeah,
And like you're just like, man, I've been shooting these people for the past
yeah.
5 hours, and look at him. Like that grandpa guy, like as awful as he is through the game, like all of a sudden here's a clip of him just being a regular grandpa guy. And
Yeah. No, they were
it's rough.
that was super effective. Everything worked right up until Chris showed up, and I went, "Oh, right, where is Resident Evil?" Right.
Yeah, go punch a rock.
Yeah, go
Redfield.
punch a rock. Where have you been, Chris Redfield? Punching rocks.
Had to get my reps in. I saw a sick boulder on the way.
Yeah, man. I punched a rock on my way over here.
Sick.
Rock punching. Anyway, so that's the thing. We'll all be looking for it. You'll buy it day one, right? You're a day one buyer of that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's actually, here's a question. This reminds me of a thing I was thinking about this week. So I figure you're a day one purchaser of that.
Hmm.
I have games where I'm like that, but one just happened that I would normally be day one on, and now for some reason I've pulled my punches on it. And I don't know
really?
why, because the reviews are good enough, and knowing what it is, I should be over the moon, but I stopped short of picking it up, even though I fully planned to do a day one purchase, and that was for Mech Warrior 5, which happened, Friday or today, or no, today. Today's Tuesday. No, yesterday, sorry. Yesterday it came out. And as this close, and lead up to it, I was super excited. I am a dyed in the wool, loved the mechs back in the day. Mech Warrior games, 4 in particular, just ate up my life in the 90s. I loved Mech Warrior, and I love mech games, and I love that whole idea, just the idea of a nasty future. Again, it fits all my subgenre stuff. It's a little Mad Max, a little Blade Runner, a little, all these things I love. Dystopic, but also, crazy military mechs and having to manage those mechs, and they overheat, and you got to be careful about that. And if you can plant one in the water in the river there, you can last longer because you're not going to overheat as much and stuff like that. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I will probably still get it, but for some reason I just held back, and it's not even a full price $59 game. It's only $49. I mean, it's only $10, but it's enough for, to me to go, oh, it's decently priced as well. And I can't figure out why I didn't do it.
Oh, well, that was going to be my question is, do you know what kind of pushed you away from it?
No, I think part of it maybe is that I'm approaching it with nostalgic eyes, and I don't want to be disappointed or I don't know. I mean, it's modern in every way. It looks beautiful. It's got amazing graphics and stuff. It's in every way sort of the logical next step. And there's that MMO that's still out there, the Mech Warrior Online game, which I never tried because I shouldn't assume, but I assume it's bad. I don't know. I have no idea. That's bad, right? To say that? I don't know if it's good or bad.
Yeah, I don't know either. That might be my guess, but I'm sure it has its fans that would write in and say, oh, it's good.
Yeah, and it's still out there pumping away. They're making, they do updates, and I see it on sale all the time. So obviously there's stuff going on. But maybe that was it. So I don't have a good answer. I really don't know. I want it to be great, and maybe I'm worried it won't be, or that I'll bounce off it too soon, or maybe I just need more reviews from people I trust. I don't know. But have you guys ever done that? Like, Bo, have you ever had a game where you're just like, I'm pulling the trigger day one, and then day one comes, and you're like, I'm going to not pull the trigger because reasons.
Oh, you're not going to buy it?
Yeah.
Definitely had that experience, but I can't think of one.
Was it like that with Borderlands for you, or was that simply the store wouldn't let you?
Well, the store gave me troubles making the payment because I was going to break down and buy Borderlands.
Yeah. Three
but
in
then
particular.
It stopped me, and then it hardened my resolve. I'm like, I have tons of games to play. I don't need to play anything on launch day, honestly. Like,
right.
The game, once the game launches, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Like, even if Cyberpunk came out and I'm so stoked for it and I didn't buy it, I'm like, I have the rest of my life to play it. I'm just like, that's how I feel about games right now. So it's like, I'm still excited for them to come to fruition, but you don't always have to buy them, especially if you've got 10 other games in your queue anyways.
Right.
So a game but you're saying like your feeling it was based on needing to see some validation before purchasing.
Right. I think so. I think that's what I need, which is a weird thing because what a nebulous thing to ask somebody to validate my my nostalgia for a series like Mech Warrior. Like, why do I need that? I don't know. And the thing is, you know what part of it is? I don't think I can get. Can you do returns like you can on Steam on the Epic Store? Is that even an option over there?
I'm not aware of that. I think no. I think that's again a case for a plus for Steam versus that, but I could be wrong. I don't know what their status is right now. But I think we need to think of it this way: that like, just having a game that has your that checks a lot of boxes for you isn't enough, because like that bar is always getting pushed as to what makes a really fun game. Like, I find more often than not a really fun game is not in the genre or thing that I like. Like Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, is like, by all accounts, is like a best in class technology gameplay kind of game. Linked to the new Zelda game is like that. They're not, what's appealing to them is like they sound like super fun games, so I want to try them, but they're otherwise not appealing to me because they're not genres that I'm super into.
Right.
So when you get one that you're into, it's usually from a passionate cluster of people that release product that isn't up to those standards. And I think that's where it's like, I really want a Mech Warrior game, but do I want to play a game at 50% of the quality just because I like the genre, if that makes sense. A lot of space sims are like that, you know, or space. Like I played Everspace.
Yeah.
Is it Everspace? And I'm like, everything about it looks cool, but when I played it, I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel like a high quality game, you know, like on the, you know what I mean? Like just
totally
it's not
get
Blizzard
it.
publishing this game. So I'm like, I don't know. I think I should like it, but it's a little And I'm watching video for the Mech Warrior right now, and you know, the menu screen is all text. You know, I'm like, oh, and there's no icons and cool little graphical things, and seem, you know, and that it might just it's not a question of bad or good. It's just probably they have a limited budget and they got to focus the development where they think it matters, and
Sure.
menu screen is not it.
Yeah.
I've got a really good example of this actually, because I think at least some of us might have gotten hit by this.
All right.
What's that new XCOM like game that came out? Phoenix Point?
Phoenix Point. Yep.
So that's a game that came out, seemed to be getting pretty decent reviews, decent buzz, but we heard a lot of that's buggy. It's got a lot of bugs. There's some problems there. Maybe wait, maybe give it time. We were clearly in the mood because a lot of us went on to play XCOM 2, or at least Scott, you were already playing it, so you were kind of already in the mood. I kind of dove in. I know Bo was feeling tempted last week, and we heard from Kyle who said the same thing. So it's not that there was a lack of interest in that genre preventing it, but you know, sometimes something just even if you're feeling that itch, it really has to excel and stand out to really get you to say, okay, well, I'm going to drop down the money and do it, especially when something else did it really well already.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, you know, hearing about the bugs was one thing. Knowing how much of XCOM 2 I didn't get through, and so there was already sort of a new game waiting for me. And then also the other thing that put me off on that game was hearing how much the original creator to XCOM was going to try to adhere to the difficulty, the brutal difficulty of that original game, which you can kind of negate a little bit in the modern XCOM games. So if you don't feel like being Iron Man hard mode, you can do lots of stuff to ease up, you know? And it sounds like this has less of that, and that put me off because I'm not looking right now for a frustrating challenge. I don't want it. It's why I don't play the Souls games. I just am not in the mood to bang my head against a wall. I'm just not into it. I save that for like raid nights when I raid with friends in an MMO or something where I have to do a lot of things over and over again. That's like the only way I really feel like doing that stuff now. I'm to the point where when a game comes out, I will check the review to see what they say about the difficulty settings. And if they say, you know, normal's fine, then I'll do that. I'll do normal. But if they even hint that normal's like too, you know, challenging, it's not why I'm coming to the game. I want to experience, be it story or gameplay loops or whatever it is I'm trying to get out of there, and I'm not there to just, you know, lose and start over. Ugh. I'm just not where I am right now with my games. I've had times like that in my past.
That pattern based stuff.
Right. It's not for me.
Because there are hard games I'm sure you'd enjoy, but I think the ones that involve repeating pieces of content until you master the patterns.
Yeah.
I mean, that for me is not enticing. I like hard games, but not games that are hard like that.
Yeah.
Some people do.
I think that's why I really liked the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order business, because their difficulty settings really kind of changed that game to what I wanted it to be. So at the easiest setting, which I didn't try it on, but I've heard from people, you basically have your action game. You know, you have your I've got a lightsaber, swinging it, lightsaber fantasy game. At the level, which was kind of the normal setting, you have a game that is Dark Souls-like in that there's a challenge, there's a reward for pattern memorization. You're probably going to die a bit, but it's not so punishing that you're like I didn't finish that game and feel like I had conquered a mountain the way I did when I beat Dark Souls. I finished that game and was like, yeah, it was hard. I put in my time, but I had a good time with it. But if you want that feeling of accomplishment, there's higher difficulties for that, and they certainly make those available to you. And I think it was really nice to include that so that you could get that breadth of people into the game. I know there's some people that say like, no, you got to go with what the creator intended, but you know, I don't think there's any harm with making your game more appealing to more people.
Yeah, I agree. I'm always grateful when the games let me, and I generally like a game that will let me change it on the fly. So if I've chosen bad choices, I can go, you know what, this is too easy, or this is too hard, or whatever.
Yeah. That's the major gripe about. Have you heard of this new game called GTFO?
Yeah, I did the
By the makers of
4-player
Payday?
survival thing. Yeah.
It looks cool, but one of the things that's getting the most negative reviews on Steam when I looked at it, and just thereabouts, is that there's no matchmaking.
Mm.
It's a 4-player co-op survival game with puzzles and shooting and everything else, but the intent is that it's actually made to be hard. So there's no, intended to be 4 players, but it's intended to be like not a matchmaking game.
Oh, so just
Like,
you and your friends, and
They're
that's
like,
it.
go on Discord and find people.
Yeah.
There's no matchmaking, and it seems like an intended design choice. It's in early access, so that could change.
Right.
But there's this idea that you can make a really hard 4-player experience that isn't, when you put matchmaking in it, you've got to balance for all kinds of factors. Where if you just design it, like Heroes of the Storm's designed to have 5v5 people on TeamSpeak, coordinating sort of play, then it's interesting just to make that experience. But yes, don't expect to make as much money, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with me and MechWarrior. I kind of just, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Tons of games, and MechWarrior 5 will be released forever.
Yeah.
It's not going away.
You're right. You're right. And I'll probably get it cheaper if I wait a little while. And what's the big deal? There's no timer on this. I've got plenty to play.
And
lots of games.
And I'm looking at it, and it looks like, it's not S tier. It looks well made, but at the same time, the IGN review frame rate seems really low in spots, and it doesn't seem to be like smooth like butter, or
I'll let them fix a bunch of that stuff first.
Yeah.
Because they will, right? They will.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I had to write down another game I'm playing that I totally forgot about. Tactics. Okay, there we go. I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, talking about old games that have new life in them. I'll bring that up a little bit later. All right. This is interesting. So you guys have been playing Diablo. I assume you're still playing that.
Yep.
There's a cheat. Well, cheaty, but technically not cheaty people got maximum greater rift finishes, 150, by exploiting the seasonal buff, which is part of this season 19 stuff. What is the actual buff? It's not the chicken thing. What is it?
Part of it's chicken. It's when you hit a certain threshold of kills, an effect displays on the screen, which does a bunch of damage to, like, it kind of clears the screen basically.
Okay.
And it gets progressively more bombastic. So chickens do come out at a certain level. You get a frost nova that freezes everything. Little blood rifts open up in the ground. Angels fall out of the sky and attack your foes. Like, there's all kinds of different damagey spells that you shoot out at a certain level of kill streak, and there's like 15 or 20 of them all through the kill streak. So it's fun, and it does help you push higher level tiers, because if you're doing a greater rift, you get that bonus damage from the buff just for free. So it's like, it's a pretty fun buff overall, and I mean, that's all it is really.
Well, Blizzard banned a player for doing it until they put a fix in, because it's not intended, obviously.
So some people found a way around it by when you start a greater rift by yourself, it's tuned to one player. You know how the minions of hell get stronger when people join?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, when you start a greater rift, that doesn't happen, right?
Oh, right.
So what they were doing was, one guy would start a greater rift at the maximum level of greater rift, 150, and he'd go a defensive build and do 0 DPS basically.
Oh, wow.
And he'd just pull up the mobs. And after he starts it, then three of his buddies will come into the same instance, and they can't join the greater rift, but they can go out in adventure mode, and they'll do the same thing. They'll do 0 DPS, and they'll round up packs of mobs and bring them to the portals that are located throughout. So once your greater rift guy is done pulling up some mobs, and you guys are communicating on Discord, they'll say, I got a pack here. He'll leave the greater rift and then use the town portal to wherever there's a pack of mobs, put a dot on them, and preferably, I think, something that triggers on-death explosions that spreads. Like, there's a rend rune that does it. Explosive Palm does this kind of thing, where with specific gear and stuff like that. So you go out in adventure mode, you take the mobs your buddies tagged, put a death timer on them, then get back into the greater rift 150, where you're doing 0 DPS. You can't kill anything. The HP is so high, I mean, you might not even be able to do it with any kind of gear. And then what happens is the kill timer will tick up while the stuff in the adventure mode dies, but
Yeah.
you're in the Greater Rift getting the explosions from the seasonal buff.
Yeah.
And so they were able to do this, I think, clever trick. But what Blizzard has come out today and officially called a cheat and exploit, they're hot fixing it now to, basically cheat your way to Greater Rift levels. And 150 is the maximum. There's no higher Greater Rift. Torment 16 is the equivalent, I think, of 70. So you are orders of magnitude well beyond even the hardest mode of adventure mode doing that stuff. And it's clever, but it's clever in the way that hackers are clever and they get in trouble and they get hired by the government because they're pretty awesome at what they do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like on that level, because as far as I know, there's no actual cheats or exploits that are necessary to accomplish this.
Huh.
But don't do it, kids, because Blizzard's watching you.
It's one
Yeah,
of
there
those-
was bans. There was a ban at least.
Yeah, at least
Do
one.
we know how long? Was it just kind of like a hey, cut it out ban, or?
I don't know. I think leaderboards. I think they're hot fixing it, and your leaderboard status will be wiped, and you'll have to re-get it where they find it. But the interesting part about the story is that these were streamers doing it. Top tier Diablo players. So they were streaming it. I don't think they were really using any cheats. I mean, I didn't see any. I watched a 20-minute video of them doing it. But Twitch banned them.
Oh.
Blizzard didn't even. Twitch banned the streamers from streaming what they were. I think people watching it. I think the community feels like it's exploitative.
So they
So
they probably
got
reported
cancel
it.
cultured out of it because, if they weren't using any cheats or actual hacks, it's mechanics that are available in the game, and so I don't see why they should be punished for being clever. I think Blizzard should fix it for the next season and
Yeah.
whatever. But players are going to be clever. That's what we want them to be. So.
Yeah.
But anyways, I thought it was interesting also that Greater Rifts have a maximum, because I've gone the highest I've ever gone this season, and it's still nowhere near the leaderboard. The leaderboard minimum is like 130 right now, at least for Monk solo, and I'm at like 105.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm at 95 right now on my Crusader.
Yeah,
So.
and it gets so brutally hard. I'm just like, getting one shot and I can barely kill anything.
So 150 is the ceiling though, huh? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not unlimited actually. It's capped at 150 right
I
now.
figured that just went on forever, but I guess it can't.
I think probably if enough people made it there, they could probably tune an extra 25 rift levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's a little like they do with difficulty levels and other stuff in general. They could probably bump it, but it doesn't sound like a lot of people get there. So,
I mean, I'm doing damage in the trillions, I think, right now.
oh my
It's pretty
gosh,
ridiculous.
wow! And this is the character you just started like a week ago or something.
Yeah, but you have to understand there's a way to get to 70 in like a couple hours, and it's the most obvious thing in the world. They have weekly challenge rifts, right?
Yeah.
Well, they give you materials. So what you do is before you start your seasonal character, you just do a weekly challenge rift, and then you open the package on your first character that season, and you get a bunch of mats, enough for you to make yourself like a pretty powerful legendary early on,
Yeah.
and stuff you can cube, and it makes the process really quick. And this is like accepted meta right now for
Really?
seasonal, because we're in the 19th season, so
A couple hours, 0 to 70. Is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
and it's not an alt, like fresh season start. You'll get there in about 3 hours.
That's crazy. All right, I'm playing Diablo wrong, I guess. When I do play
But
it.
you have to know that to use your. I think the big leg up is using your your weekly challenge rift. Like, don't do it and open it on another character. When the season starts, do your challenge rift and get your rewards, and that helps boost things really
Gotcha.
fast.
Gotcha. All right, well, Diablo season 19. Still a threat, everybody. Still a threat. All right, we're going to do this. Oh, yeah, by the way, so this quickie segment, I have an idea. As I rip through these, you guys have to have a single sentence or word response to each line. All right?
Oh, okay.
So whatever your take is, like one of these, I'll just fake one. Let's say one of these says, Pac-Man's no longer yellow. He's going to be blue. And then I'll go, John, and you'll go, yeah,
Let's cheer him up.
yeah. Oh, see, I like that because he's blue. I get it.
Yeah,
Well said. All right, so here we go. Time for quickies. All right, we're doing these quickies. These are things that happened this week that we wanted to mention real quick. Wasteland 2 is free on Good Old Games. Bo picked it up. Just got to click a button GOG Winter Sale is on as well. Bo, thoughts? Wasteland 2.
It's like Epic Game Store, but it's GOG.
Oh, well, that was fast. All right, John.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Nice. This is how this is going to go. All right, get your jokes in ASAP. The name for the next Xbox will describe its purpose, according to Phil Spencer. What are you going to call it, Bo?
Xbox Netflix.
Okay, John.
Xbox, why is my bed wet?
That's the purpose of it? All right, I'll take it. That's fine. Star Wars Jedi
Wow.
Fallen Order is getting a photo mode tomorrow. John, will you use photo mode?
Call me when I can live out my dream of being a jizz musician.
Bo.
I can't wait to see John's photos
Oh, geez. All right.
of his jizz.
All right, listen to you. Got to be a patron to hear the reason why all that made sense, because it did. I promise it makes sense. I promise. I swear. All right, 50,000 movie trailers were 50,000 movie trailers were released this week. How's that even possible? That's not a real thing. John.
The best one was Wonder Woman.
Bo.
None of them were good.
What are the other 449,999 trailers?
It's like Ghostbusters. There was like
Black Widow.
Wonder
there
Woman. There was
Oh, so I'm not to take this.
NPC Man.
I'm not to
Like,
take this
there's-
seriously. Then this number. This is a
Right.
joke
Sorry,
number.
I wrote them this week.
hyperbolic.
The factualness may vary on these.
All right, fair enough. Rough week for Star Trek fans and what's the other thing called? Sesame Street fans. Renee Aubergenois passed away. Carol Spinney passed away. It was Big Bird / Oscar the Grouch. Juice WRLD, who just turned 21. Song Hyde was featured in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That person died. Is it Juice WRLD? World?
Juice WRLD.
World without a O.
Ask Nick. He might know who he is.
Dick Wild? Or Dick World? I don't get it.
He said, "Ask Nick."
Oh.
Ask
Oh! Nick, he's not here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyways, he died at 21. It's sad.
That
when
sucks.
Kurt Cobain died, I cried for days.
I know, it
So,
sucks. Nobody should die that young. Also, none of these people should die. And also,
No.
Star Trek's had a bad year. We lost, like, multiple actors, some head writers, some old TOS people. Bad year for Star Trek people. Ryan Reynolds is playing an NPC in a new movie, which is weird because that makes him not the NPC. But quick thoughts, Bo.
Yeah, that was my quick.
Hey,
How?
How?
There you
Yeah.
go. How?
How? That's the question. John.
Yeah, what Bo said is true.
Oh, that's what I agree with it as well. I vote for Bo's policy. Mad Max Fury Road director George Miller, one of the greatest directors of our time and one of the finest films ever made, says that he's not done with the Mad Max story and plans on making a few follow-ups to his 2015 film. Most of your responses should be, will Scott ever shut up about it? And the answer is no.
No, and you shouldn't.
All right, because I'm not gonna. I'm just
I
gonna.
want a Furiosa movie because
Oh.
she's my favorite character from that last one.
I'm pretty sure that's the next thing he's doing. I think he's.
I'm on board.
Okay, because I think he said as much. But they're still gonna call it Mad Max, and it'll still have Max in it somehow. That'll be a deal.
I mean that's what the last Mad Max was anyway.
That's a good point.
There's a Furiosa movie named Mad Max that had Mad Max in it.
There you go. Indie game developers are being targeted and receiving takedown notices for using the phrase, quote, choose your own adventure, unquote. Who's suing them?
Whoever
Turn to
owns.
page. Sorry.
Oh, what? You know the answer?
No.
It's whoever owns Choose Your Own Adventure, which I assume is like TSR.
Oh, it's probably some ancient. Oh, yeah.
Just a
Like-
wizard
Yeah.
at Hastings.
It's not a big deal. A wizard at a Hastings? Is that what you
Yeah.
just?
Scholastic.
I can't
Yeah,
believe
that
you
is
said
what I
it.
said.
A
Scott.
Hastings.
Turn to page 27 to find out.
How many people even know what a Hastings is anymore? That's impressive. You
Yeah,
really
never
went
heard of
deep
it.
on that. I know it's this record store we used to have in the States, and they're gone now. But John really,
Like
John
Sam,
pulled
Sam
out a
the
good
Record
one.
Man.
Yeah, but it's a funny one. It's funnier than if you said Tower Records or something. That's not
right.
as funny
they
as Hastings.
had books at a Hastings, though. You could get books there, right?
Yeah, you
Was
totally
Hastings really lame? Was that the deal?
No, it was great. It's just a funny
No.
name, I think.
It was a place you could also trade in books. So, like, the first Choose Your Own Adventures I got, I think, was from a Hastings.
Gotcha. Oh, video game awards are tomorrow. Who cares? Does anyone care?
Nope.
No.
I kind
But
of
I'm still gonna watch.
Well, they'll do trailers and announcements. I care about that, I guess.
I care about that, and I also want to see if Death Stranding runs away with it all, so that I can hear the controversy about how it was a setup, that it was all pre-planned or whatever.
The fix is in.
The fix is in.
VGA.
That's right. The fix is in. BioShock is returning, by the way, and it's still several years away. John, do you want BioShock, and what do you want out of it in one sentence or less?
Shodan.
Perfect. Bo.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a line from BioShock that would be like a nice wink, but I realized I don't know any
what is
lines
it?
from
A man
BioShock.
chooses, a slave obeys. Is that what he said?
Is that what he says?
Andrew Ryan.
I don't know.
What
What are when he was talking to the twins, they always had something
Would
fun
you
to say.
kindly hit me with a golf club?
Sure.
I know there are memorable quotes from that game, but I just can't think of any.
It's the circus of value.
Here's what. Oh, jeez, I hate the vending machines. Here's what
But
I
the
want.
vending machines end up being the most memorable.
Did they though? Because I hated those things. What I liked is the world and the setting. So what I hope they do is don't look back in terms of mechanics. Do some new things that way, but just give me an amazing space to do it in. I want a cool BioShock game. That would be fine with me. And that is your quickie. Look at quickies.
Bring us the girl and clear away the debt.
See?
That was one.
That's
Got
the
it.
one. That's what we were looking for. Time for this. All right, we're playing games this week, and these are the games we're playing. We don't have to spend a ton of time on these, but both Bo and I are playing Darksiders Genesis, which is a spin-off of sorts to the Darksiders deal. It's got Liam O'Brien back as the character War. If you're playing this by yourself, you switch between War and Strife sort of at will. A couple of button presses, and you swap around with these two dudes. And that's great because we love hearing Liam, but also I don't know who the other guy is, but he cracks me up a little bit. So there's that. And apparently co-op's real good, but we haven't tried it yet, but we plan to. Bo, thoughts about Darksiders Genesis?
Basically a buddy cop movie in hell.
Kinda, yeah.
So I really, and they don't go like there's nice art in it. There's no, the cutscenes are, they're hand drawn sort of style. So you're getting like this isn't a AAA kind of deal, but the voice acting really, I just can't. I mean, I love Liam to death when he does work like this because
Yeah. It's very good.
It's just very good. So I mean, if you like Illidan and hearing Illidan speak and just doing that sort of vibe, he's really good as War. I was a little. I'm not surprised by this, but my expectations of it being like a Diablo-like game were kind of out the door when I played it, and I played it with mouse and keyboard, and it wasn't good to play as. So I just haven't gotten back to it yet, but I think it's going to really shine with the controller because it just feels like a controller game.
It totally is. I
big time.
would compare it to like a dual stick shooter in a way.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Strife is kind of that. He just he's got the guns. He's like just shooting around.
Yep.
So
One stick to aim, the other stick to move, trigger to fire, that sort of stuff.
yeah, and the levels themselves are really cool. It has mounts, which is kind of like a preview of what they might be like in Diablo because you can dismount and do a move, and you can shoot people while you're on the mount. I think the mount's pretty cool, and it's just got a very arcade feel. And it wasn't, like I said, it didn't look like a Diablo clone, so I wasn't necessarily expecting it, but I wasn't sure what to expect. But I just love the over the top. It's got a very comic book.
Right.
You have this like hell aesthetic, and it already looks a little comic booky, but then the moves are very comic book, and it's pretty cool actually. It fits
Who's
really well.
who's the artist that they?
Joe Mad.
Yeah,
Joe
Madura.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
amazing, so good, and that's what this.
Yeah,
art
I
is.
love his art. He is one of my all-time favorite artists.
Yeah, he's something else, and this is all based on his stuff. Of course, the other games are as well in the series, but it's just a fun little offshoot, and I think it feels really good. I have a couple of complaints. My main one is that I wish I could rotate camera more. It sort of locks you into certain perspectives, and that's fine, except sometimes it gets in its own way, and you get a big piece of cliff in the way, and you can't really see who you're fighting and stuff like that. It's not game breaking or anything, but it would be cool if I could kind of rotate around in that thing. But as a thing for what it is, and for where it's priced, I think it's all right. I think it's pretty neat. It's getting decent
Yeah,
reviews.
it feels like one of those fun games back in the Xbox 360 days you get on arcade that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And you pay the $20 to $30 price point for. So I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
Yeah, me too. Well, we still need to try the co-op and we'll see how that goes. Because in co-op, I assume you can never switch characters. You are each other. You know, you are whatever you pick, right?
Yeah, there's those weird stones too. I don't think you party up like. I don't think you group up in the same way where you're like
Yeah, it's not like
in a lobby and join in. I think you
yeah.
summon people to your game, and anyways, it's
Yeah,
I
there's
don't
like these
understand
pink
why.
turd stones out in the middle of the playing area, and I went to my first one. I thought, oh, this will give me something cool, and instead I clicked it. It says, "You want to invite a friend?" I'm like, wait, what? Weird.
And the worst part is it is one of the cooler looking interactables in the game too.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah,
wow.
it's this rad.
It looks like
looking-
somewhere where you unlock an ability, and it doesn't do
It's
that.
like a big dark crystal out in the middle of the desert. It's pretty cool.
Uh,
Anyway, so there's that. I also no one told me that Dragon Quest Builders 2 was good.
Anyone
I'm
you
so
don't play
excited
it?
you're playing this.
Yeah.
This is so not what I would think you would play. It's got the Toriyama art, which you notoriously gripe about.
Yep.
It's a Minecraft style game, which isn't typically up your alley.
Right. It's you know what
I-
it is? It's the right combo. It's some of the stuff I like that I play farming games for. Because I like a game with structure. The reason I don't like Minecraft very much is it's just sort of go and do whatever. And I like sandbox games, but not that kind of sandbox game. I don't want to just build things for no reason. I know there's the survival aspect to the original mode for that game, and lots of mods and things, but building for a reason, having actual quests to do, characters in a world going through a story, and giving you reason for the stuff you're doing. I like that. And it also turns out, whether I knew it or not, I really like the Dragon Quest universe. I like what that place is. And I like the stupid slimes, and I like just the more lighthearted approach to things. I played 11 and like it a lot. So I saw this come by on Steam because it was on previously on Switch. They've now got a Steam version, and I'd heard really good things about its frame rate, resolution, and up res, and all this stuff looked really good on it. So I thought, well, let's just check it out. And man, if I didn't get sucked into that thing. Like, I did the demo, but it's one of those demos it's actual game until you get to a point, and then you can decide to buy up and get the whole game. And if you do, your saves are all good. You just keep moving, which I really like that a lot in a demo. I think I'm going to get it though. I can't believe how much I like it. Like, it's a very fun. I mean, even though, yes, all the characters look like Dragon Ball Z people. Okay, they just do. That's weirdly okay for me because it's the little shorty kind. I like those better than the Dragon Ball Z 2 people, which aren't the little squatty shorty kind. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
As weird as that sentence was, yes, I know what you're talking about.
I think you know exactly
You
what I mean.
you don't like it when they become all elongated and muscular, and it's that same art style on
Yes.
big, supposedly realistic looking bodies.
Yeah, I
You
don't
like
like
it
that.
when it's stylized.
Yeah, it's a little bit chibi and, goofy looking. I think I'm okay with it. Plus, I don't have to look at his face a lot. I'm looking at the back of my dude a lot. So I don't have to see his big dumb eyes. But it's just a fun, cool thing. And it's Minecrafty, but it's more than that. It's not really meant to be a Minecraft game other than, everything's voxels and you're sort of farming and building and doing stuff from the world and from the environments and stuff. That's all true. But the survival elements kind of aren't there, which I hate those usually. So that's nice. And the story's been just kind of delightful. And I don't know, there's just a rhythm to that game. So I can't believe I'm even saying this because it just seems like it's not my jam, but I really like Dragon Quest Builders 2. I didn't play the first one. And the reviews are warranted. People love this game, and I didn't know why, and now I know why. I think it's very good. It feels like a Nintendo game is what it feels like. I think that's what's jamming.
I want to get into it too. I think I would like it.
Yeah. If you do, let me know. We'll build some shit together because it's got a big old crossover, like come together and make cool things. But it's just got and it's also very RPG-ish. You're leveling up. You get, build better weapons for the guy that rolls around with you. You got helpers that are breaking stuff while you're breaking stuff, which means you're earning more stuff faster. And I don't know. It just seems like a really polished, very Nintendo-ish game, and I'm a sucker for that. So yeah, it's cool. Dragon Quest Builders 2, rad game. It kind of, part of me wants to just like I stressed a little bit at first, like, oh, maybe I want this on the Switch because I can take this anywhere. It's one of those kind of games. And then I got far enough in the demo thing that I'm like, I don't want to do the last 4 hours I just did. I'm gonna keep it over here. And then I played an old game. So here's my old game that I played this week. One that currently is enjoying both recent and all reviews, a overwhelmingly positive review on Steam, and has had that pretty much since its launch in 2016. And that game is Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun, which is, do you guys remember Commando? Do you remember the Commando games?
You've recommended this to me. I've heard
Oh,
of this. This
the
looks really good.
Commando games.
Yeah. Do you
Ooh,
remember those way back? And
I do. I remember hating those.
Oh, well, then you may not like this. I don't know. Because basically
But
Commando was
I
like...
was a dumb kid when I played them, and those games were hard.
Yeah, they're hard, and they're strategic, and they're, honestly, they're kind of XCOM-y in a way, except not
They are.
turn-based.
My young adolescent brain was not ready for XCOM. I was like, okay, I moved the gun, I got shot, and I was like, what the hell is this game? I don't know what to do. I took 2 steps and died. What is this world?
And this thing is only $10 right now because it's on... Well, I don't know if the sale's over. Shoot, I meant to check before the show. But I noticed it was on sale. I already owned it, which was just this reminder of, oh yeah, I didn't finish that, and I kind of want to start it over because I'm in the mood for this right now, this kind of game.
Yeah.
It's all set in like feudal Japan era stuff. You start with this ninja guy, but you eventually just get a ton of different characters to play with their different strengths and abilities. Like this samurai guy can run into a group of 3 enemies and kill them all at the same time, whereas the ninja guy has to be a little more selective and hide in bushes and stuff like that. You got a girl who does some pretty wacky stuff from a distance. Just a whole bunch of like really cool tactical stuff, and it's a series of missions, and I think they're extremely good. The game has come a long way in terms of support. It looks like when it first launched, I remember it being a little choppy and scrubby in some ways. That is all gone. Super polished, super clean. Just a good time. I really like it, and so I started playing that again.
It reminds me of like a feudal Japanese version of Syndicate. You remember
A little bit.
Syndicate?
Yep. Syndicate's another good example of this kind of game. Yep. Totally. So instead
Yeah,
of
so
hacking, it's like, you might have a guy who's a great hacker in Syndicate. In this case, you got a character who's really good at, fooling somebody into thinking.
Okay, yeah, because I'm watching gameplay now. This game, I remember being interested when I saw it. I think and it's reviewed really well, so it's like a best in class kind of deal
Yeah,
too.
it's
These
very
kinds
good.
of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for mentioning it. It is $10. I may just.
Oh, you should totally do it. Yeah. If
I might check that out as well.
if it's still
took a
10
look at
bones,
some screenshots. It looks real nice.
it's stupid not to get it at that price because it's worth
And,
so much more.
It's that good, and it's not even a DLC game.
No.
It has all that overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, I mean, I've actually had this game recommended to me a number of times and just never pulled the trigger on
Yeah.
it. But yeah.
I don't know what those dudes
Awesome.
are working on now, the same team, but I would love to find out because I'll bet they're making something cool.
They probably did well financially on this guy.
Yeah, it was
One would hope.
popular. I mean, it shows a ton of sales, and like I
When
said,
was
they're
it released?
2016. So whatever
Yeah,
they're
so
doing,
it's a 3-year-old game, still making front page on sales and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
yeah, still feels like the. How do I put it? 2016 feels like a good place to check out games that you either started and didn't finish, or you didn't check out then that maybe you're getting on sale now, but are still super relevant technically. Like they still look amazing. We're not talking about leaps and bounds from 2016 anyway, but also they've just been polished and patched and cleaned up. And I like doing that. I like going back just a like 3-year window and go, all right, how's this thing doing? Oh, they've done all this. Okay, cool. This is a hot, new, clean experience. I'm going to play this now. And I'm totally going to keep playing that game. That game is great. And I did not mind starting over. Even though I had saves, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a fresh one. I say that every morning about 8 o'clock. All right. John, we talked about Diablo. I guess you ended up diving into XCOM 2?
Well, I tried. I tried to play a lot this week. I didn't have a ton of time to play, and when I did, it was not spent productively. Diablo, I definitely got some things done in, but XCOM, I got in, ready to go, and then proceeded to spend all my time making my friends in the character pool and then close the game. I didn't actually play any of it. So
Yeah.
that was where my time there was spent. And I got some mods. I also fell down that rabbit hole of like, oh, what if I got some mods? What if
Did you
there
do
were new armors in this game?
Did you do the cool? There's a lot of Star Wars stuff in there. Did you do some of that?
There is. I'm always tempted to, but I very rarely do because there's something about having your soldiers have a uniform look, even though that's really not the spirit of this story because it's supposed to be like a militia uprising resistance. But I kind of like the idea of, no, look at us, we all got our team uniforms, and I kind of Power Ranger it up where everybody has colors that belong to them.
Sure.
Is it like an immersion breaking thing too? Because I like mods, but when they're distinctly like from a franchise, I'm like, oh, this breaks immersion.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. And I had done some fun things back when I made everybody before. Like I had downloaded some voice packs. So I don't remember who it was, but I made someone sound like Rick from Rick and Morty. And I enjoyed that for a little bit. But then I was just like, what if we just didn't invite him on the team anymore? It's fun.
The best voice packs to get are the ones in other languages.
Yeah.
What's great about that is they don't have to be English. So like my robot was French.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd, say, "Oh, je vais placer ici," and then like a robot voice, and I was just like, "This is awesome."
That's pretty cool.
He's speaking French.
Well, it's funny
Another really good voice pack is Mass Effect. There's a lot of lines in Mass Effect that translate really well to XCOM, and so that fits pretty well, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny though, because building characters in that game is its own game, kind of.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
It is. Especially with the voice. Actually, you just reminded me. I went deep. You can go deep browsing, just like, oh, there's voice packs, and it's like, because video games are kind of like Heroes of Storm. You could probably rip everything out of there and make a voice pack out of everything ripped from the Heroes client.
Yeah.
And you probably put it on the workshop, and it won't get taken down.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine having Anduin in there.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that'd be great.
I'm here to. No, he doesn't say I'm here to help.
You could probably also easily get all the Overwatch characters in there. In fact, I know some are in there, but I mean,
they've got to be.
Say Overwatch all the time. When I heard Overwatch, I thought XCOM because that's just what you do in that game.
Right.
So
all those strategy games have some sort of Overwatch in them. That's cool. I need to keep. I'm still going in there, but I haven't played it since I talked about it last. But I think XCOM 2 is rad. Now, the thing I'm most interested in here is that, again, I didn't mention this, but I did get some ESO time in. I finished out the big storyline in the Orc City of Orsinium in Elder Scrolls Online, and I ended up loving that storyline. I really dug where that went in the end. It was a little rough at the beginning because it's an older one, and I thought, oh, this is before they got their chops, or they didn't really have their awesome new quest design stuff down. And deeper into it I got, the better it got, and it just ended on an awesome note. So anyway, I've been playing that, and I keep thinking, oh, when I gotta get more friends into this. So here I see ESO ... sorta under John's list.
You're gonna be annoyed.
Okay, what'd you do?
I downloaded it. I patched it.
Yeah.
I took all the time I needed for that. I logged in. I deleted my old crappy character that I didn't want anymore, who was still in like the tutorial or whatever. It wasn't like I was deleting a big high level character.
Right.
I started making a new character. I played with all the sliders. I was very unhappy with how my character's face looked, and I ran out of time and I logged out of the game.
Did you lose the guy?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't even finish him. Well, you're right. I am very disappointed. It's very disappointing. And
most people know this about me. I am extremely picky. Even in games where I'm going to play in first person, I'm not even going to see the stupid character. I'm extremely picky about making my character the way I want the character to appear, to sound, all of that. I can't tell you how many Dragon Age Origins characters I went through. It's an obscene amount. If it was a stat they tracked, it would just say ridiculous. For the longest time, Dragon Age Origins was my most played game, and I only ever played through the game twice. But I played through all the Origin intro stories probably 3 or 4 times each, just because I'd get to the end of it and I'd go, I don't like the way that face looks.
That's not good. That's not good. But also, I understand it. I do. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But it'll mean a lot of restarts. All right. Well, one of these days, I'll see you in the world of what's it called? Tamriel. And,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's the name of the place.
You guys say keep it Tamriel?
Yeah, keep it Tamriel all the time.
Keep it
keep
Tam
it
real, bro.
Tamriel. Tamriel.
Give me
Anyway,
some of
Keep
that
Tamriel,
Nern
yo.
root and keep it Tamriel.
it's still a little.
I already found it.
I get a lot of heat for cheating on WoW with this game, but I really like what they're doing. It's neat. It's a very cool thing, and it's not a typical MMO. I just don't feel like I'm. Well, I've talked about this before, but I don't feel like I'm being pushed down the same roads I am in typical MMO structure. It's just a lot of rad story and cool character development, and a pretty amazing, robust crafting system, which I usually don't like, and I really like it here. So I don't know. The game's doing it for me. Also, I listen to the music a lot. Like every day, I have ESO music playing. I'll start shows with it. It's mainly because Twitch won't ban it, but also because it's just very good. It's very good.
Yeah, but I mean, Bethesda's always pretty good about their
Yeah.
soundtrack music too, right? Like it's good.
Yeah.
They've got good people in the musical corner.
Yeah, and they do great riffs on the old Elder Scrolls theme, which has been around forever. Probably the most famous one was the Skyrim one is pretty epic and unique, but this stuff is a lot of different takes on that same theme, and it's just very good. I
And
like
there's one they feared.
Yep, there you
In
go.
their tongue. Dovahkiin.
Dovahkiin. Although that
Dragonborn.
Wow, it's like I'm playing it for the first time. Yeah. Any minute now, I'm going to be in a cart being drugged down to some place to get executed. I'm very excited.
Juniper berries. That's
Yeah.
my favorite part is when he talks about the mead with juniper berries.
Juniper berries. Yeah. Oh, and Liam is all over ESO. My gosh, that guy's every 5 minutes I run into not every 5 minutes, but a lot I'll run into a NPC that'll be Liam O'Brien. It freaks me out. Doing English accents and stuff. It's great. Anyway.
Do you ever get neutral Liam?
Oh yeah.
Because
For sure. Just talking
he
Liam.
doesn't get a lot of voice work where it's just Liam talking like Liam.
I agree.
But I think he has a really good voice in that regard.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised no one's ever like, hey, can you just do your normal kind of nerdy dude voice?
Yeah, you get. Oh, where did I put that? I have one of these that I sent him recently just to tease him. Let's see. Here it is. See if I can play it. Oh, it's not as easy as I thought it would be. Well, all right. Anyway, I thought I could find it easy. But
Password protected?
no, it's just not. It's like way back in our text history.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because we were talking about Mr. X and some other stuff. He was laughing at my playthrough of RE2, and then I found that thing. Anyway, but it is him just going, oh, hey, it's nice to see a real hero around this part of town. And it's just him talking, which is unusual to hear that.
It's true.
Pretty
It's
cool.
true. It freaks me out whenever I hear his normal voice.
So, Bo, you wrote down something called Love Esquire. Is that what is that?
You ready for this?
Yeah,
moment?
what is that?
Why don't you open up Steam and search for Love Esquire?
Oh no. What is this gonna lead to?
It's gonna be some nudity gaming sim or something, isn't
We
it?
on
For
course,
dating.
since we've changed direction, we've brought up the visual novel game
What is
with
this?
much derision. And in my experiences through Steam, I've been getting advertised more and more of these waifu games. And I saw Love Esquire. I did a bit of research about it.
Uh-huh.
And I said, all right, let me try this game. And I'm like, and look, man, I don't want to buy it. I played offline so no one would see me log into Love Esquire on my friends list. But listen, we do show about games and we talk about the games we played. And I'd feel it'd be a lie of omission not to tell you that I played Love Esquire.
It looks like it's a JRPG, though. Is it?
Well, it has a very light Final Fantasy 1-esque like RPG component, but so in this game you play a squire of a knight, so you're not an awesome person, you suck, and everyone reminds you of it. And since the barbarians are coming to
Yeah.
the town,
Yeah.
you're probably going to die in 4 months because the death rate of squires is 80%. So you don't want to die a virgin. So your knight, Sir Hugh, is helping you train up in order to become not a loser.
Uh huh.
and eventually settle down with one or maybe more of the 5 prominent female characters of the game
Uh-huh.
before the barbarians come.
Okay.
And I have logged 5 hours into this game, and I still haven't gotten anywhere. Nobody lets me. So, which made me sort of respect it a little bit in the sense that, you know, it's not just like boom.
They're gonna make you earn it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not erotica in the sense of like pornography. It's like the romance novels that you might buy, but in gamer form.
Well,
Here's
here's their.
I gotta say,
I'm looking at some images,
and look,
I'm not sensing a lot of romance.
It had a surprising guest cameo. Jesse Cox, I think, voice acts and plays the character Boss, who's the bartender of the tavern.
Wow.
And
Oh,
yeah,
there he is. It
it's-
looks just like him too. Oh, Jesse.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
And like I said, I think if you're gonna play any one of these, this is like this is not made by a Japanese studio. They're like from Philippines, I think, but they have anti-pornography laws, so there was some help on this side of the pond getting it onto Kickstarter or something like that. But it was not an unpleasurable experience so far. I'm
All right.
trying to so the girls that I'm trying to woo the most is the Princess of the Kingdom,
Okay.
who's very sadistic and, you know, insulting, and I'm kind of like, oh, I like that. And then
why do you
and
not?
then
Why does your
the other one is my sister.
Oh man! Wow!
Oh.
But
Wow.
that's one of the characters that you can romance, and the voice actress for that one is definitely the same one as Tracer.
Oh really?
Really?
yeah.
This is her other gig, huh?
Yeah.
Tracer and
I'm
Sister Lover.
fairly certain it's pretty distinct. You know, she's a fairly distinct voice.
Okay.
Why is
But
your?
it's
Why is your?
Questions.
it's a stepsister, so it's okay.
Oh, that
Right.
makes it
I'm an
okay.
adopted child, you know,
Uh-huh.
big time loser, and so you know they had to adopt me. So yeah.
Why does the dude have no eyes? What's that about?
It's a weird art choice. The non-important characters don't have eyes, and since you're also not important, you don't have eyes, and it's just an aesthetic choice that is disconcerting and uncomfortable. But I kind of respect it for that. I'm like, oh, aren't you? Like they could have easily drawn eyes for people, and they don't. So this is like an artistic choice as part of the game, which is just kind of one of the fascinating things about this game.
Okay.
But you know, as you've said about this game, I can definitely report that there's little to the game part. You know, it's like it's definitely on the side of, you know, it's like a romance novel. Have you ever read a romance novel?
No, I've never
No.
read.
I've
one.
read a couple. They're really pornographic. Like, and the reason why I read them was my grandmother would have stacks of 60, and you know, she'd like take 10 into the bookstore and bring 10 out. Like just go through them like tons of romance novels.
Yeah.
And then when you open it up, it's 10, and you see like sexually explicit descriptions of sexual acts in there. You're just like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah. That's the
So
lady.
I
It's
think
lady
it's on that
porn,
level
right? They
anyways.
always say that's lady porn. That's how the ladies get their porn.
They do, but you sort of assume it's all about feelings, and it's not. They're all like it's just graphic word descriptions of sex at certain points in
Yeah.
the narrative.
Yeah.
But it's way more erotic than you would think or believe. Like it's because, you know, in your 10, you're like, whoa, this is interesting. I love romance novels.
Well, this is what.
What's
Let
he
me
gonna-
tell you. Let me read the description of this on the site. It says you usually play as a hero, but not this time. You're a lowly squire who's on an epic quest to get laid. Here's the catch. You've only got a few months left to find the girl of your dreams before you're shipped off to war. So get good, like GITGUD. Get good, get laid, and find man's greatest pleasure in Love Esquire. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, Esquire.
I feel
'cause
like
it's got the word
the
squire in it.
respect
I
for me in the room is lowering somehow.
No,
No,
I think it's awesome that you did this. The closest I got was Doki Doki Literature Club, which is only pretending to be one of these. So
Yeah, that's
I
a meta
think it's
game.
Awesome
Yeah.
that you took the plunge. I see those games. You look at them, you get curious, you go, "What is this?"
Hmm.
And you look through it. I'm proud of you for taking the plunge and doing it.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do this. Somebody had to. You did it. I think that's great. Are the what's the simulation games? Is that what this is under?
I would say it's like either visual novel or some other. I don't know if it has tags or not.
Okay.
Dating sim
Dating sims.
might be that. Like it really is about, at the end of the day, romancing the, the potential girlfriends. And at the end, I think there's an ending where you can get all 5 of them to, you know, you get the harem ending that I've read about, but like it's I think the general idea is you pick one from the people you're courting, and then you have a night of intimacy before you go off to war. And it isn't any more or less adult than romancing Triss or, you know, Yennefer in.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are arguably more
Right.
adult than
Yeah.
what I've encountered in Love Esquire. It's just I think about Love Esquire is Witcher is a game, and Love Esquire is like very minute. It's like, you know, text adventure point and click at best. You
Yeah.
know, like it's very non-gamey, but
Yeah.
you know, the writing's actually not too bad in it. But you know,
Huh.
I'm still scared of the genre generally.
I get
Like
you.
I don't ever want to play hentai Asmodeus that I see here.
Maybe so. The one I ran into, I keep running into, is that dumb. I thought it was going to be dumb, but apparently, people like this. That Colonel Sanders thing. I love you, Colonel Sanders. Finger looking
Oh
good.
yeah, that's a dating sim. eh?
Yeah, overwhelmingly positive. Now I don't know if that's just trolling this thing and just saying.
There is some memery to ironically liking something.
Yeah.
But I think people I think whoever was behind that like have their fingers tapped in on the pulse of what the fans of that genre would like.
Yeah.
So
I haven't played it yet, but I own Dream Daddy because I heard that game actually had phenomenal writing and was a really good story, and I thought, I'll check it out. I haven't played it yet, but
you should play
I own
that.
it.
You should play
So-
that. I'm looking at that right now.
what,
Dream
hang on,
Daddy
what is
Simulator.
Dream Daddy? Is that where you date the dad of your dreams?
It's where you're a dad dating other dads.
It says here,
About
Dream
dating.
Daddy,
It's
a
about
dad.
dating.
Yes, it says Dad Dating Simulator is a great game where you play as a dad and your goal is to meet and romance other hot dads. Are you ready? Hi, ready. I'm Dad. Oh, I
It's
see.
a dad joke.
Yeah, it's a dad joke. You're right. Oh yeah, this
Oh
is
my God.
highly reviewed or highly well reviewed.
Yeah, it was very well received. It was very highly reviewed, and I thought, sure, I'll try it. Why not?
Okay. How much is this game? $15. All right.
So you've got your dating game, that's Dream Daddy, and I've got Love Esquire. Now the question is, which game are we getting Scott to
Oh
play?
my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
I'll try the KFC one. Maybe that'll get me started.
You know what? That's perfect. You talk about eating junk food and having regrets all the time.
Yeah,
think that's
I do. I should. I totally do. Oh my
All
gosh.
right, so that's your homework. We're gonna do a book club thing. We're each gonna take our romance games and continue playing them,
Okay.
and then next week we'll talk about them.
Okay.
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 I will do this.
I'll
yeah.
do this. Yeah. I'll play Kentucky Fried Man Buns. What it's called. What it's called. Something like that.
Kentucky Fried
I
Man
think
Buns?
Scott's gonna be disappointed based on what he thinks that game is called.
I don't know what it's going to be like. I have really no expectation, but apparently it's like legit in the genre. Oh wow. Okay, I got to get out of this category because some of this stuff is like they're not kidding around. Whoa.
No, and they'll show you things if you click.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm even in here. All right, we're skipping out of there. I'm not really into the anime ladies, but I'll tell you what. I'll play Kentucky
Yeah,
Fried
you
Chicken.
play Colonel
Man.
Sanders because I'm curious about it, but it took a lot for me. Like I was just worried. I'm like, what are people gonna think on my friends list once they see me load up Love Esquire? But I'm genuinely curious about this game. There's something appealing about the art style and the boobies. I mean, the colors of the game. And I did that on purpose.
I know. I have
That's
no
good.
problem. In fact, I think it's actually good for the show for us to, because I don't know what this stuff is, and I'm very judgmental about it because I just assume it's all garbage. But people like it. Like all the ones we've talked about so far today are all really well reviewed and not just, it's not just porn.
Yeah, like hentai Asmodeus.
Yeah, that I'm not into, but I could see,
It's the ones you see them for 99 cents on the Steam list where it's like it was one called Seek Girl,
yeah.
and all it is like there's 9 panels and they're hiding a picture, and then a little thing pops up and you click it and it reveals one of the panels, and I think you do that 9 times and it shows you the picture.
Oh, Seek Girl 1, 2, and 3 are all.
And that's all the game is, and I'm like, this does not deserve respect. Although I think it's still reviewed, I'm like, this can't be.
That's just like simulating trying to look at porn in the age of dial-up. Like,
Mhm.
there's just an extra process to it.
Yep. Plus, Seek Girl 3 is currently on sale for 69 cents. I see what they're doing. That's lovely.
I don't get it.
They're probably trying your processor power to farm Bitcoin while you do it.
Probably. Also, they just showed me something
That's
I
true.
can't believe I. You know what? I'm going to share it with
Yeah.
you guys here.
Well,
This
be
is for
careful
you.
when you enter here.
Here's no. This is fine. Here you go on our Discord. Check this out. I'm uncomfortable about it. I don't like it.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
So for those at home, it's a green-haired anime girl being taunted by somebody holding a eel.
Well,
Yeah, it
all
looks
right,
like
so
an eel, but it's also kind of spitting at her.
Ew.
thing is, it's a fish out
Yeah.
of water,
Yeah.
and the
Uh-huh.
water is dripping down his fingers. Now they didn't draw it blue; they made it a clear white,
Ew.
adjacent color.
Ew.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's very, very opaque, and it's suggestiveness as to what's going on. However, one is not touching the other,
Yeah.
and they could be two independent animations. They're just in your mind when you look at it. You're like, well, clearly this is
One would hope.
an allusion to
Yeah.
more real
Yeah.
acts.
One
To
would
like a
hope.
musical genre within.
I have a
Star
feeling
Wars.
that GIF's going to end up on the TMS or on your thing when you say goodnight to people. You Scott, you post.
I
that
love
weird
doing.
images.
I love doing my goodnight gifts because I make those. Those are homegrown gifts.
Are they?
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
I'm appreciative of them. I'm like, oh, I know when Scott goes to bed because there's some weird plastic head exploding into like macarons.
I like doing that. For some reason, I get a kick out of that. But what I'll do is if I find something weird somewhere, I'll go, oh, this would be a good GIF, and I'll capture it, go through the work of like creating a GIF file out of it, shortening it, doing all the stuff I have to do with it, and then posting it. So they're like home. It's like grass-fed beef, man. I'm making my own GIFs.
Yeah, you're not lazy getting your 100th Nathan Fillion GIF off of Giphy.
Yeah.
You make your own.
That's
damn
right.
GIF.
If I'm going to make the Nathan
targeted.
Fillion thing, I'm firing up like Firefly and making my own. That's what I'm going to do.
I make my own, but I do it through Giphy because I'm bad at making GIFs otherwise.
Well,
so.
Giphy's got a pretty good
Yeah, I do
bunch
too.
of
I'm not
tools.
judging.
But I use, I'm weird. I use full on like Adobe Premiere and like,
If you're gonna do it right.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to remember this next time you're like, man, I don't have time to do anything, and I just picture Scott in the director's chair making his 50th GIF of the day.
There's something about it. I got a giant, I have a giant
There'll
sheet
be
of
a-
GIFs I've made that I'm very proud
There'll
of.
be a documentary about you posthumously, like hundreds of years in the future. Like the great Scott Johnson made 200,000 GIFs all stored on his computer.
Yeah, nobody knows. In fact, here's my Giphy page chat room. You guys can use them at will. I got lots of like good ones for muting people.
When
what is
we
it?
reach the inevitable conclusion when we replace emojis and we just speak in GIFs, which some of us are already there,
Hmm.
Scott will be looked at as a modern artist who contributed the most to our GIF society, discovered after his death.
Yeah.
that poo one is gross. Man.
By the way,
Yeah, that poo one's rough.
the worst
I don't
thing
like
about,
that the poo goes back into his butt.
the worst part about that is I drew that, made that.
I
in a-
know it's not the worst part.
Well,
It's
no, the
impressive,
reason
but-
it's bad is because I made that in a I made that in a new animation
Procreate?
program I'm messing with.
Oh.
Yeah, Procreate's got this like awesome new animation mode, and I needed to do something quick and loopy, and I'm like, well, what do I do? And then that's what came to mind. So there's two verses of this.
Why do you even think of a person handstanding without pants on but has a shirt?
I don't know.
You know, like that detail came to you. He's definitely wearing a shirt, but
Oh,
no
yeah, no.
pants or underwear. He's got shoes on,
Yeah.
and the poo is shooting straight out like a projectile, but it goes back down into the butt. It doesn't land on the butt and fall off. It
Yeah.
goes right in the hole.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's disturbing.
It's very
But I
disturbing.
like it.
I'll give it to you. But like you see some recent gifs here from King of the Hill because King of the Hill cracks me up, so I capture these as I watch it. What else? Oh, there's a shot of here.
You know, the Sonic bending over and pooping a little ring is extremely disturbing.
I don't know why that cracked me up so bad. But that one I just put in the chat in our Discord is.
Oh yeah, your box fell down.
Yeah, it scared the hell out of me the other day. It happened without me doing anything. It just fell and it was loud, and freaked me out. Anyway, yeah, and I do a lot of film sack caps and stuff like that. You know, just stuff.
Like what's this one? There's a guy sticking his tongue on a table and a knife stabbing it, and then a foot also sticking knives.
Yeah, it's some weird 3D artist, and his stuff is. He might be the same guy that does the face with all the balloons coming out of it.
Okay, that one looks wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, the face stuff is rough. Some of that stuff, like sometimes I'm intrigued by it. Sometimes I'm horrified by it.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm all of those things while looking at the same one.
Yep.
Oh, there's one of John.
Yeah, there's
didn't
there's
know
some
you
of
made
John.
that
There's
one.
one of you in
Oh,
here.
in there? No.
I got an old Bo one. This is really good for an audio podcast. But I'm gonna share this with Bo here.
We're doing GIF review tonight.
There you go. See, that's you doing.
Oh, back when I had tape on my glasses, like
Yeah, dude.
looking real poor there.
Oh, I forgot about that. You broke them and you had to tape them. Hey, we've all been
I
there.
still have to buy new glasses.
What are you wearing right now? Nothing. Oh, you have something on.
I'm just wearing the predecessors. I had another pair I forgot about, so I'm good. But
All right.
I could use new glasses
Well,
instead of a haircut. I think Daisy comes over. I'll ask her to come with me to shop for glasses and give me her opinion.
nice. Finally, you bought Hades, which John and I have had for a while on the Epic Store, but you got it on the new early access post they have on Steam, and they gave you a free copy of Pyre with that. Is that correct?
Right. So you might be thinking, well, I could have got it for free, and so I paid $20 for it. But I haven't really given Supergiant a lot of money, so I kind of feel okay about buying their game.
Mhm.
And what pushed me over the edge was for the impulse buy, because I bought it today before the show, was Pyre for free. I'm like, oh, I get to try Pyre too. John said a lot of good stuff about that game. Why not?
Yeah, I love
So
Pyre.
2 games for $20, 2 good games for $20. And Hades looks amazing.
Yeah, it is good. It's very good.
And the reviews reviewing really well, even on Steam, despite it being exclusive. There's a lot of great positive comments on there. And what I saw in the trailer looked like almost like Heroes of the Storm kind of UI elements, or just MOBA elements, like these weird UI things that look like it got kind of crazy. It just was interesting to me and inexpensive enough for me to gamble on it, so I picked it up.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's a
next
very
week we can
it's
talk
a
about
very
it.
cool game. I like where they're going with it. It's a little in the vein of a roguelike sort of dark or Dead Cells.
Dead Cells, yeah.
Yeah, that's that kind of game, but they're doing enough new stuff where it feels pretty fresh. I like it. It's very good.
It looks good, and I didn't really go deep on Bastion, Transistor, where I'm like, oh, maybe I could play it. So I'm like, I hear good things about them. Maybe this will be the game I spend a lot of time with. So I bought it, and I'm excited.
Nice. I'm glad you got it. We'll hear about that in the future. But now, this.
That's a good question.
An email from a listener. Not an email. Yeah, it is an email. From Troy Thorson, which is a cool name. Sounds like a Greek god or something. He wrote in and says, Core 12 4th-ish. I don't know what that means. Anyway, it says this.
The date of the episode.
Oh, okay, gotcha. He says this. The term crocodile tears comes from saltwater crocodiles producing tears in order to remove excess salt from their bodies. Saltwater iguanas sneeze out excess salt as well. So our thing about crocodile tears, where I was confused what they meant. I thought when someone said, oh, they're crying crocodile tears, I thought it just meant big tears, but what it means is they're faking it, because crocodiles don't cry. They just have salt water to get rid of. It'd
So
be like
if someone's pretending to be sick and they're not, you just say, those are iguana boogers.
yeah, those are iguana snot rockets.
Yeah.
Is what you'd say. Yeah. No, that's exactly right, John. I think you got it. You nailed it.
Okay.
Troy, thanks for the correction and the update. We appreciate it. We really, really do. If you'd like to be like him and send in an email, we had some other game-related ones, but they're very long, so I did the short, dumb one today just because, why not? You can send those in to us at the website. Go to frogpants.com/core. And if you want to leave us a voicemail, 801-471-0462. I think that's going to do it for today's show. Had a great
I
time.
think we covered a lot of ground. We learned a lot of new things about one another, and I feel closer to you all.
And we have a challenge for next Wednesday. We're going to play our little dating sims. Who will come out on top, both figuratively and literally? Find out next week on Core. In the meantime, we are supported wholly by you people. So if you guys want to support us, that would be awesome. We'd really, really appreciate it. Head on over to patreon.com/core show and do so. That's patreon.com/core show. All the details are there. So whatever you're looking for, you'll find it. Thanks to everybody who already supports us, and we look forward to hearing from more of you. Frogpants.com/core is our website. You'll find everything there, including our Twitter accounts. CorePod for the show. John's at John_Jagger. I'm at Scott Johnson. Bo is at Bo Schwartz. You can find more stuff like this at frogpants.com. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week. This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com. Yeah.
Hey,
Wesker.
Oh.
Wesker.
Wesker. Oh, that's what Resident Evil needs to do. They need to do a one-off